Hey guys, Jay, welcome back to the channel. Oh man, guys, something's going on in the crowdfunding world because right now it's not looking too good for the Haslab Snow CAT for G.I. Joe. And I want to take a deep dive into this because there are multiple crowdfunds running pretty much at the same time right now, and all of them seem to be a little bit behind on their overall crowdfunding efforts. Let's take a deep dive into this, guys, because this one really is something we need to pay attention to. Let's have a look. The creative team of El Dragoon, myself, Danny Green, Gildy Reds Comics, and Sebastian Navas will be doing a live stream about our brand new comic, El Dragoon. The legend begins because we are going to be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time talking about the comic book, what it takes to make a comic book, the writing, the story development, and of course, that wonderful artwork, production, and the promotion for this, because obviously we are trying to get this off the ground and we really need your help. Obviously, with this production, we are definitely looking at some amazing artwork coming from Sebastian and some amazing storytelling from, of course, the original creator, Danny Green, and my friend, Gilly Rats Comics, who did help to work on the actual mini comic for Flipbar and the Champions of Nefertiti. So it's not like we haven't done this before. We will be talking about everything from pencil sketches to story development and how things go from just a simple sketch to fully rendered inks, which look absolutely stunning. And then finally, all the way to color production, lettering, and of course, how we're going to promote this and create this amazing international property for El Dragoon, which will eventually become, we hope anyway, an action figure. Guys, if you're into wrestling, if you are into lucha libre, if you are into amazing stories, and if you like Dragon Ball Z, secret societies, and the fate of the world hang in the balance just by two lovely individuals. Not too much to tell about the storyline here, but you guys will definitely love El Dragoon, the story of Juan Juantes. Guys, it's going to be amazing. Definitely come check us out tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be live on the Mega J Retro channel as well as the Danny Green Collects channel. We hope to see you guys there. And if you are interested in supporting El Dragoon, we're going to be having a lot of different things available to help support, including t-shirts, apparel, stickers, the whole 9 yards. And to be the first to actually get any updates on these, definitely head over to eldragoon.com and sign up for our mailing list. This is going to be a lot of fun, guys. If you do sign up for the mailing list, you'll be among the first to actually learn all about El Dragoon, the Kickstarter, and how you can help get us to the finish line for this amazing property. We are really excited about this, guys, and we hope to see you at Mega J Retro and Danny Green Collects for the El Dragoon live stream. This is going to be absolutely amazing. Guys, we hope to see you there. It wasn't too long ago that any sort of project connected with Hasbro Pulse was almost guaranteed to be a #1 bestseller, and no one really had any qualms or questions about the fact that projects on Hasbro Pulse would definitely fund 100%. That since has not been the case. We're only a few days away from the end of the Snow CAT Haslab campaign, and just doing a quick refresh, we are still not quite there, even for just funding the basic target goal of 8,000 backers. We only have 7,874 backers and still 7 days, 8 hours, and 8 minutes left to go. This is staggering for a G.I. Joe Haslab project, and it leaves a lot of us wondering what the heck is actually going on. After all, the entire video went through the entire campaign and the language that was being used in the actual webpage itself. As a matter of fact, you could see that the way they talk about it's almost, self-deprecating in a lot of ways. Should they manage to convince a legion of fools to provide 8,000 backer orders before midnight on August 14th, G.I. Joe and Haslab will begin manufacturing these with all haste and no doubt devoid of all quality assurance. Like, there is, there's something going on there. I'm not 100% sure if that really, was a factor in the overall outcome of this, but you have to admit that's a bit strange to be, self-deprecating in that sense. Besides all that, though, I think one of the main things that a lot of people are pointing to, and I can't help but in some ways agree, the stretch goals in many regards, are not what I think a lot of people were expecting. Not that the stretch goals aren't good. I think that they're excellent stretch goals, but you know, obviously, who wouldn't want a Lady J in Arctic gear? I mean, that is pretty much a given. Who doesn't want a Flint in Arctic gear? That is also really important. But they decided to go in a really different direction and do this sort of world building idea. I think it has something to do with the episode that the Snowcat was actually involved in specifically, where they were trying to stay warm, they were trying to conserve their rations and everything like that. So obviously they needed to get additional food in other ways, like fishing. Like Lady J comes with fishing gear. I don't think any of us were expecting that. She comes with a fishing pole, an auger, and of course a cup of Lady J, which is awesome. I do appreciate that. And a lot of people are saying, Jay, you have to back this. You need that cup of J. I'm like, okay, I totally get that. But the world building continues with, this, and how, I think somebody pronounced it. How did they pronounce it? It is a bowwhack, a bowwhack. And at the time, I think I remember saying that is kind of whack. So it literally is a shelter. It's not a full tent. It's literally just to protect from the wind and the elements. But it just barely does that in a lot of ways. Now, obviously, this was developed for the army. It was developed for survival, and I totally understand where that comes from. But I don't think people were expecting all of this world building. And not that it's not interesting, but I'm not sure. I think people were expecting, much like they included with the Dragonfly, I think people were expecting more figures with the stretch goals instead of, an accessory pack, for example. Much like what happened then, I'm starting to wonder if Cobra is going to have to come in and rescue this campaign, because as it stands right now, and this is very important, as it stands right now, the Snowcat itself, which has a wonderful pack out. Let's not get that twisted. This pack out is great. It comes with the Snowcat. It comes with Frostbite. It comes with the sled missiles, the missiles themselves, the blast effects. The Frostbite himself is fully decked out with a sniper rifle, a canister of Joe, the additional visors, the swappable head, and the sidearm. The other play features for the set are amazing. It has light up features. This is a great pack out, but I'm wondering if a lot of people are thinking that it's just not enough for $300. So we are in a bit of a predicament now. Yes, the Snowcat is a great vehicle. It is freaking gigantic. I was able to see this thing at San Diego Comic-Con 2025, and it was glorious. The real problem now is, for whatever reason, we're going to dive into the reasons, the possible reasons for this. People are not looking to back this thing, at least not in the sort of with the sort of excitement that the other Haslabs have had, and there are numerous factors on this. The major issue, though, is that even if it does get backed, because it's not that far away from backing. Let's not get that twisted. It is not that far away from backing. The major issue I think that a lot of people are going to have is if it does back, and 8,000 backers do make this idea come into reality. Is it worth the $300 without the additional stretch goals? That's the biggest question right now. Without Lady J, without Flint, and without the bow wax, whatever it is, man, that is whack. Is it going to be worth that $300 to the backers? As this will definitely be an issue for a lot of people, as every single other Haslab for classified has funded in droves and unlocked pretty much every single one of their stretch goals. Pretty much 4 figures, almost guaranteed in each and every one of their Haslab projects for classified. This could be the very first Haslab that maybe only gets 1 additional figure at the end of the campaign. Now, having said that, we do know that in the past, the last few days really do help to boost the final numbers for these Haslab projects or any crowdsourced projects, even if they are in a corporate situation. And I'm pretty sure that we are going to be able to see something similar to that when this finally starts to wind down in its final few days. As a matter of fact, Geek Dad Life is tracking this very, very carefully, closely, thanks to the Haslab charts provided by Brian Brink. And we do have, at this point, heading over to Geek Dad Life, I'll have links in the description below where you can take a look at this. The projections by Brian Brink are up right now. And as we can see here, the projections are as follows. And it does actually ramp up right at the end. You can see here on the gray line that right towards the end, Brian is still expecting and projecting that right at the end, we could possibly see the third tier just barely making it, according to his projections. And it's not like this hasn't, been something of an issue in the past. The Sky Striker was well on its way to failing and not reaching its minimum backing goal. However, we do have to remember that in the last few days, literally when you see this new ramp coming up, they had plateaued to the point of pretty much nothing. And that trajectory is being followed very closely by the Snow Cat. The Sky Striker, its saving grace was when Cobra came in and added an additional set of action figures right off the hop. And people were excited at that point. They wanted to back it. They wanted to get those extra figures, and it made its minimum funding goal. Not only that, on its very last day, you can see it shoot right for the moon. It was absolutely insane. Is that something that's actually possible with the Snow Cat? It is hard to say right now, but Brian Brink does actually have it projecting at a final photo finish for the Flint tier at the very last day. He's projecting 13,646 backers to finally unlock Flint as part of that Haslab. And just double checking, I do believe it is actually I think that's actually short of the goal, isn't it? Is it 14? Yeah. Brian is actually predicting that Flint will not make it. Looking at this chart, if I'm reading this correctly, somebody definitely comment in the comment section below. Am I reading this correctly, or am I totally off base here? Because according to this number, according to Brian, and again, I could be reading this completely wrong, but Brian projects at least according to this, that they will just miss Flint by around a little under 400 backers, 13,646 by the end of the campaign. That is a very specific number. That is a very, very specific number. Flint, in order to unlock, will need 14,000 backer orders before its conclusion. Now, this will always lead someone in the comment section during the campaign to say, you know what, having come that close, they might as well give it to us, right? They might as well give us Flint. And in a perfect world, that would probably be, a nice thing to do, right? As a company, it would be a grand gesture. And only less than 400 backers away, I think it would make a lot of sense to really, give that type of gift to the fans. I think that's absolutely warranted. I totally get it. But as we've seen with other, crowdfunding campaigns, it's a hit and miss. If we look back at some of the Mattel campaigns, we do know that offering everybody an early bird actually backfired, or at least it seemed to backfire for the Eternia crowdfund, offering King Grayskull to everyone if every one of these stretch goals was met. So there is something about keeping your word with these actual crowdfunding projects. Let's talk a little bit about the reasoning behind all of this. First and foremost, I think a lot of people are going to point to price. $325 is creeping back up to the $350 mark, almost $400 mark that was, proposed for the Engine of Vengeance. I think that there is a ceiling which people are willing to back, and I think that seems to be a major concern for many backers of these Haslab projects. That seems to be the first major issue. The price is creeping up to those levels. But what's fueling that? What is fueling this $324 price tag for the Snow CAT? Well, there are a number of factors, that go along with any sort of pricing. I think the major concern right now is these tariffs. The tariffs that are coming that are coming out of China. Um, and I know I'm mis saying that. I think I'm not sure anybody really understands what tariffs are. I don't understand what tariffs are. But no matter what, once it hits the U.S., there's a tariff attached to it, and I think that the GI Joe team, the Hasbro team, is just bracing for that. They're actually adding that cost and putting it on the consumer, which is what tariffs do. Tariffs actually do that. So I think that that is the number one major concern about this. The number two major concern is the price of everything. Forget about toys. Toys are luxuries. Toys are these things that we reward ourselves with because we got a bonus. We got we did a good job. We're doing well. We have some money saved. We have some money left aside, and we want to reward ourselves. We want to treat ourselves. Well, the reality is money's tight these days. Money is absolutely tight. Gas prices are up, food prices are up, the cost of living is up, your rent is up, your utilities are up, everything across the board is up. That's not saying anything about the natural disasters that are happening all over the world, whether it be forest fires, floods, everything and everything that you can imagine. Volcanoes are erupting right now, tsunamis. Things are just going crazy in the world as they always do. But the real problem is that our economy is not in the best of shape, and it really is starting to show the signs of wear and tear. So people don't have as much money to spend as they did, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even last year, as a matter of fact. So this HasLab coming on this particular situation and this particular climate seems to be a major issue. Let's talk about the other major factor that a lot of people are not really talking about, which, of course, is the fact that there are multiple campaigns running at the same freaking time. And what the heck is going on with that? This is something that Hasbro has still not learned from. You would think that they'd be once bitten, twice shy about this, especially considering that the Rancor was really a major factor in the fact that why would you run multiple campaigns virtually on top of each other? It just makes no sense. And they're doing it again. The Sky Striker ran with the Rancor, which ran parallel to the Ghostbusters Proton Pack, an actual triple whammy. It just did not make any sense. And history is repeating itself once again. Not only do we have the GI Joe Snow CAT, which is $324.99, but we also have a massive, massive campaign running for the Vintage Collection Star Wars Haslab at $450. This is just crazy. This is just nuts. If you are a cross, fan of both of these properties, the number that you're looking at right now is well over $800. Just doing some quick math right now, if we take $325 and add it to $450, you're looking at $775 pre-tax. By the time this ships and lands and is the taxes that are included, you're looking at well over $800, possibly even getting closer to $900. Because even at 8%, just 8% taxes alone, it's at $837 for the two Haslabs together. This is crazy. This is nuts. And let's just talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, which is the Star Wars Vintage Collection gunship. It's not exactly doing spectacular either. Normally with Haslabs, especially particularly Vintage Collection Haslabs for Star Wars, they usually get funded in the first few days, maybe even the week. This one is already coming up to its week and a half mark, and it's well under its halfway mark of 8,000 backers, coming in at only 3,037 backers as of 4:09 p.m. on Thursday, August the 7th. And it has a long way to go, granted, 32 days, 7 hours, and 49 minutes to go. But is this a sign to come? Is there a fatigue happening right now with Haslabs? And what is the overall fallout going to be with this? There's also an additional factor which many of us are looking at, and paying very close attention to, especially if you're a Master Universe fan. San Diego Comic Con, of course, is the place to announce brand new initiatives and brand new crowdsourcing projects. But it seems that that is a major issue, as because it is a hotbed for these types of ideas. Maybe it's not. Maybe, as I've said in the past, maybe these companies definitely should be talking to each other, because another much anticipated Haslab, a much anticipated crowdsourced project did get announced at San Diego Comic Con 2025. The Snake Lair, which already had its own controversy surrounding it, having been redone and retooled and redesigned back to a more idea of what the original design was, is now backing and doing actually rather well in comparison to these other projects. I'll just going to put it out there, and be perfectly honest with you. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this one's not gonna fund." Well, you know what? That seems to be flying in the face of that, because it hasn't even been a full week yet, since it actually started. Sorry, it has been a full week. It hasn't been. It's been just about a week and a half since it actually started. And looking at the numbers right now, last time I checked, it was at 2,499 backers. Hitting refresh right now, and it is now sitting at 2,553 backers. It is continuing to climb in the actual backers and the backer counts. It is now almost 42% funded, with 20 days left to go. So it's already been well over a week and a bit, and we are well on our way to getting this up to the 50% mark. Now, once again, it should be noted that in order to unlock Skeletal Lady Slither, backers must fully back this project. We need to hit 8,000 backers. 6,000 backers. Sorry, we have to hit 6,000 backers in order to unlock the Skeletal Lady Slither, and that unlocks. And if it doesn't reach that goal, no one gets the Skeletal Lady Slither. Only the early bird backers get the Skeletal Lady Slither. Apologies. And that will happen on August 14th, 2025. So in reality, there are only about 5 days left in order to receive Skeletal Lady Slither as an early backer gift. And then the 6,000 backers, once it's unlocked, will unlock the Snake Lair Playset as well as the Chimera. So if you were an early backer, you possibly could be receiving both of these figures. Great idea to reorganize how that was set, because during San Diego Comic-Con 2025, we originally found out that the 6,000 will only get the Snake Lair. Lady Slither would actually unlock at, I think, 7,000. The Chimera would unlock at again, the numbers were kind of weird. I think Lady Slither unlocked at 7,000. The Chimera unlocked at 8,000, and the final stretch goal of Lord Pythonus unlocked at 10,000. Everything was reworked after, I guess, additional feedback from fans, and now you unlock the Snake Lair at 6,000 backers. The early backer bonus is Lady Skeletal Slither on August 14th, and of course the entire pack out, everything, the stretch goals with Lord Pythonus unlocks at 8,000 backers, and there is no 10,000 backer bonus, which is a welcome addition to the whole campaign. And it seems to be reflecting in that. The pivoting that has been done by Mattel seems to have worked, as it looks like the confidence in the Snake Lair is growing day by day by day. We have about 5 days left to try and unlock. Sorry, we have about 7 days left. My apologies. I can't count right now. We have about 7 days left to unlock all of these tiers, and we're already at 42% funded. So we just need a little bit more to get the Snake Lair fully unlocked. But then we have to also remember that this is running parallel with the Star Wars Adventure Collection Haslab, as well as the G.I. Joe Classified Snow CAT vehicle. This is absolutely crazy. And you know what? Just because we are just to add to the madness, why don't we throw in something completely different and talk about the fact that if you really want to go all in and figure this out and just spend a crap ton of money, let's just talk about the fact that She-Ra, Princess of Power from Mondo with Swiftwind is also available for pre-order. This is a timed edition, and it essentially might as well be a crowdfund project because you have to decide, if you're going to back this for the most part, and individually, because you can. There are three ways to support this project. Individually, Swiftwind himself is $600 overshadowing all of these Haslabs and Mattel Creation projects. Absolutely crazy. She-Ra herself is $260, which is more reasonable and easier to digest than that. But if you want to go, all in, if you want to go all in on these figures, you can get the bundle pack, which does save you about $65, but it is a whopping $750, $795. What am I talking about? $795 for the set, but you do get a ton of extras, including the Swiftwind Filmation sets, bonus accessories, Luki, and a possible chase figure, as well as a wonderful print. So there's a lot of incentives to support these projects, but it is running congruently with the Mattel Creations Snake Lair, along with the Haslab Vintage Collection gunship, Clone Wars gunship, and the Snow Cat. Holy crap, everybody. You want to talk about the reason why these things are having a hard time funding? I think we have our answer right there. Sometimes I wonder if these companies shouldn't actually pass notes to each other in class and talk to each other and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, exactly at the same time, because we are competing with with each other's, campaigns. And of course, that's never going to happen. At the end of the day, this is competition. This is capitalism. This is the field of making money. And of course, bringing wonderful, amazing products to us, the community. But is this the straw that's going to break the camel's back? It is absolutely crazy, guys. I am excited for all of these projects. Truly, truly I am. But I think I'm out on the Snow Cat. It's not something that really spoke to me. I didn't actually have it as a child. It is not one of those vehicles which I was really, enamored with. I was expecting the Mauler for G.I. Joe Classified. And I think a lot of people were also expecting the Mauler. So it's an interesting decision to go with the Snow Cat. But as we've seen in past Haslabs, I think the addition of another character, and maybe this is something you should consider. I'm talking to you, Hasbro. I'm talking to you as the Snake. The Hiss tank really did get a huge boost, a massive boost, in adding that additional character. Now, mind you, that was a reward for getting up to its fully funded goal so quickly. But much like the Sky Striker, it might be a good idea to add an additional character to really boost those numbers, as that really was the lifesaver for the Sky Striker in its final days. And then we have the other two projects, the Star Wars gunship. I mean, it is glorious. A lot of people do love it. It is a harkening back to the history of Star Wars, the Clone Wars. But at such a high price tag of $450, it really is that litmus test, trying to figure out if people are willing to spend that much on a toy. It does look amazing. It does perform really well. And I have actually video of what it actually does in life and how big it is and how great it is. But is it enough for people to spend $450? This is that litmus test, that battery test, that battery acid test. This is what it is. And then on the Mattel side, we do have the Master Universe Snake Lair, which, even though at $300 is pretty pricey, I think a lot of us have been waiting for that. So we'll see where that ends up. And of course, celebrating the 40th anniversary of She-Ra properly, I might add, the Mondo Swiftwind and She-Ra bundle set will save you $65, but it runs congruently with all these other crowdfund projects and really is going to be a major factor in how all of these end up and where they all end up. Let me know in the comment section below, guys. What are your thoughts about crowdfunding in 2025 for major companies like Mattel and Hasbro? Are you guys in on any of these projects now that they seem to be, well, just inching along, trying to get their minimum funding goal just to get produced. And are you in on Mondo's offering for the 40th anniversary of She-Ra, which really is enticing because She-Ra just hasn't gotten any love in 2025. Thanks to Mondo, that has changed. And now we know that Mattel is actually bringing out their own Swiftwind and She-Ra. Interesting, to say the least. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Is this a good thing? Was it expected? And are you of the opinion that, you know what, maybe it's time just to slow everything down and try to figure out where toy prices are going to end up, as everything seems to be going up, up, up in price, and somewhere the buck has to stop. Let me know those comments in the comment section below, guys. Toy news continues 2025, everybody. As a matter of fact, the San Diego Comic-Con coverage on this channel continues. I'll be taking a look at Nacelle and their offerings, especially their Sector's new figures, because I was absolutely over the moon to see that the Animal Companions have finally been released with the hand puppets for Spider Flyer and Dragonfly. And I want to take a look at that. You can take a look at that video right here, and I'll see you guys there. Hope you're all doing well, staying safe. And as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. Haslab's, Mattel Creations, crowdfunding in general. Where is it going to stop? And will it continue past 2025? Good journey, everybody. Be proud.